those instruments played mostly in Japan, so it became like quite a mysterious instrument, and I somehow got it here.
This is a deeper listen from listener-powered KEXP. It's our show where we talk with musicians about thoughts and experiences that shape their music. I'm Roddy Nickpour. Today we're taking a deeper listen with Hiro Ama. He's from Japan, based in London, playing drums in the indie pop band Teleman.
Hey, sing to me your song, I'm leaving you behind. I don't need anyone now.
In late 2024, he put out his debut solo album titled Music for Peace and Harmony. KEXP's Dusty Henry spoke with Hiro just after the release to dive into the themes on the album, finding peace during chaotic times, and also the unique instrument that Hiro used to make this record.
Finding peace and harmony can be hard these days. Whether it's constant doom scrolling, regime changes, stacks of bills, or whatever your stress du jour might be, serenity is in short supply. Well, at least that's the way I've been feeling. When I stumbled onto Hiro Ama's latest album, Music for Peace and Harmony, when I was scrolling through Bandcamp, I wondered if it could truly deliver on the promise of its title. Amazingly, it did. In the last few months of 2024, the album soundtracked my daily drives, drop-offs and pickups for my kid at school, and sorting through a constantly piling work inbox. I'd play it at the end of the day after work was done and everyone else had gone to bed, like a long, deep exhale. Ama tapped into something I needed to feel, and I suspect many of you do too. A sense of relief. Ama was born in Japan and started playing music when he was 12 years old. After playing with numerous bands there, he moved to the United Kingdom when he was about 19 or 20. He continued playing music and joined the group Teleman as a drummer. Ama continues to play with Teleman, but during the 2020 pandemic, he began exploring new sounds on his own. Here's Ama.
During the pandemic, you couldn't go out, you couldn't do anything, and so I've always written music just for myself and never intended to release anything.
He sent some of the recordings he'd been working on to Stephen Bass, who runs London-based label Moshi Moshi Records and Pra Records. Bass encouraged him to start releasing solo material. Pra Recordings would end up putting out Ama's solo works, beginning with 2020's Uncertainty EP. Where Teleman was more upbeat and poppy, Ama's solo work took on a more introspective tone. As a devout fan of electronic music, Ama is always experimenting with new sounds and ideas. When I started digging into Ama and the story behind Music for Peace and Harmony, I was surprised to see Ama holding an instrument unlike anything I'd ever seen before, a Japanese synthesizer called Waraku. The instrument is long, rectangular, and wood-paneled with a gold-edged flower tastefully placed near the top. There's no conventional keyboard and comes with a steep learning curve.
So it's got like a string, so you can pluck it, and it's got 4 pads which you can assign any sounds.
The Waraku is meant to emulate sounds of traditional Japanese instruments like dakoto and shakuhachi. It's with this instrument that he created the sound of Music for Peace and Harmony during a particularly hot summer in 2023, alongside some guest appearances on flute and vocals. Between these peaceful tones and this mysterious synthesizer, I knew I needed to learn more about Ama and how he made this warm embrace of a record. I caught up with Ama, who spoke to me from his London home, with his Waraku nearby, to talk about the record, get some demonstrations on how it worked, and learn more about what these ideas of peace and harmony mean to him. You know, I kind of randomly stumbled upon your debut album, Music for Peace and Harmony, and I fell in love with the music first and was listening to it again and again, and I kind of had this mystery of it, like, I don't know who you are, I don't know what this music was, just this kind of beautiful music that plopped in my lap. And then finally I was like, I should learn more about this, and then I saw your page and I saw the photos of you holding the Waraku synthesizer, which I'd never heard of, and it's this amazing instrument.
Yeah, this is quite niche instrument, yeah.
Yeah, can you tell me a bit about how you came across it and what it does, I guess?
So I don't remember when I got this instrument, like more than 10 years ago, because like this is like Japanese instrument, and it's got shakuhachi, which is kind of like a Japanese flute. It's got taishogato, which is like Japanese harp, and it's got some traditional Japanese drums as well. And it just because those instruments played mostly in Japan, they don't really export this kind of synth. Like they only market it in Japan, so it became like quite mysterious and like obscure instrument. And I somehow got it like here. Yeah, that's the story.
That's great. I was curious just to give maybe some demonstration to our listeners who aren't familiar, to maybe walk through some of those different instruments and sounds on the Waraku.
Right, okay. So this is some drums. And this is shakuhachi, Japanese flute. And this is kind of like a Japanese harp. And it's got like a weird thing as well. So yeah, it's got everything.
So the album you released this year is called Music for Peace and Harmony, which I understand that's what Waraku roughly translates to peace and harmony. Is that correct?
Yep.
Or some version of that?
Right, yeah. Yep.
So I kind of see the connection there. But I'm curious, so what do these ideas of peace and harmony mean to you, and how did you want to translate them into this record?
I wanted to use this drum sounds, and it just because this kick drum, it's not even kick drum, but kick drum, it's got a long decay, and in order to make this drum kit work as a drum kit, I kind of have to write slower tunes, and I started writing a bunch of slow and meditative tunes, which kind of became quite peaceful and harmonious songs. And Waraku, like you said, Waraku translates to peace and harmony. So when I wrote Music for Peace and Harmony, I thought, oh, okay, like this could become like a themed concept album, like all related to peace and harmony. And yeah, that became the album, basically.
Love that. And looking in some of the descriptions on your Bandcamp and things about the record, you reference this idea of music as a space between the notes, and kind of through you're speaking about slowing down the pace. And another idea you mentioned too is you say that modern music sometimes sounds too pristine and sanitized. I like those spontaneous sounds. You maybe already hinted at this a little bit, but could you talk a little bit more about that and how that applies to your practice?
So I write music and I mix and I self-produce everything. So I definitely get easily drawn to like small things. I used to be quite perfectionist. I wanted every details to be perfect. But then again, like you listen to old jazz records and stuff, and you can hear like a lot of mistakes, and you can hear a lot of bang notes sometimes, and you can hear the people chatting in the background, and that becomes a part of character of the music. And once I realized it, I thought like I don't need my music to be like everything perfect. So I started putting a lot of field recordings and just embracing the imperfection,
We're taking a deeper listen right now to Music for Peace and Harmony by Hiro Ama.
I listen to a lot of like ambient music or music in that sort of meditative space. And I'm always interested in this idea of how the music and the environment interact with each other and how they add to each other. I'm curious if that's something you think about. Maybe with the field recordings, I sense a little bit of that.
Yeah. I mean, like anything can be music, It's how you see it, how you hear it. Like any noise can be music. So.
And I believe I read that even in that same vein of any sound can be music, some of the drumming is actually you humming. Is that right?
Yeah.
Kind of going back to this idea of peace and harmony, like, it sounds like the music itself came very naturally. You weren't putting some specific intention to it. But I guess after the fact, when you landed on this name and idea, what does it mean to you now? And getting kind of existential, like the world is very chaotic. The world's always been chaotic, but it feels especially so lately to many folks. And the idea of making a music about peace and harmony is almost a radical act in some ways. I see it. So I'm curious what these ideas like mean to you and this record.
At that time when I wrote this a bunch of music, I needed peace and harmony. Not that like bad things happened during the process of making the album, but yeah, I just needed some nature, and I just wanted to make songs to soothe my mind and heart. And these songs are like for myself, to heal myself. And like every day you turn on telly and it just, like sad things happening every single day. I guess it's kind of a message to myself, like, don't forget peace and harmony,
I've definitely found that on your record, listening to it myself. I play it for my kid a lot too. And it's cool that like such like something made for yourself, something personal, like that emotion can resonate through. It really, like when we put it on in our house, it really kind of calms everything down for a moment, and that's just such a very rare and beautiful thing.
That's great. That's good to know.
A question we love to ask all artists we talk to is what music are you listening to that's resonating with you? Would it be that an old favorite or a new favorite? What's an artist or a song that you're really vibing with right now?
After I released Music for Peace and Harmony, some people mentioned some of the songs have a similarity, similar vibes to Beverly Grand, Keyboard Fantasies.
Yes.
And I have to admit that I didn't know that album, and after some people mentioned it, I listened to it, and it's a beautiful album. I listen to it quite a lot now, and the first song, is it first song, Ever New?
Yes, yeah, I love that song.
Yeah, I love that song as well.
Welcome the spring, the summer rain. Softly turn to sing again. Welcome the bud, the summer blooming flower.
The approach of making the album, I think he used quite limited amount of gear, like DX7 and Roland drum machine, maybe TL707 or something. So it's kind of like similar, the way that I used. You know, I used Waraku and I used a bit of DX7 as well. And I just wanted to limit myself rather than check in everything. And Keyboard Fantasies by Beverly Glenn. This album that I listen to quite a lot these days.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so amazing. These like decades apart and not even being aware, and you can kind of end up in a similar space. I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, I know. It's,
Welcome the child whose hand I hold. Welcome to you, both young and old. We are ever new. We are ever new.
Thank you so much, Hiro. Again, this record is so beautiful. I highly recommend it.
thank you.
Yeah, it's helped me find some peace and harmony. I know it was for yourself, but it's also
great.
helping others. So
That's great.
just gratitude for that.
Amazing. Thank you.
How could I know? How could I know? How could I know? How could I know?
I'd love to stay bathed in this sound bath of peace and harmony, but we got to go to credits. So this has been a deeper listen. Thanks so much for listening. Go find that album, listen to it on Bandcamp, and find yourself immersed in peace and harmony with Hiro Ama. Hopefully this show also brings you a little slice of peace and harmony in your life. If that's the case, leave us a review wherever you listen to this podcast. Tell a friend about it. And please even consider donating to KEXP so we can keep bringing you these conversations on A Deeper Listen. That's at kexp.org/deeper. Thanks to Dusty Henry for producing this interview, and of course our regular host, Emily Fox. Mastering this episode was by William Myers. I'm Roddy Nickpour, and thank you for taking a deeper listen.